I used to think self-improvement and faith were two separate things. I'd watch motivational videos during the week, then go to church on Sunday. And there's a difference in my head. There's a difference between these two. Hustle and grind in one part of my life, pray and worship in the other. Keep everything in balance because they're not intertwined. But then I stumbled across a few Bible verses that completely shattered that separation. These weren't they weren't famous ones you hear in sermons. They were tucked away quietly inside passages I'd read 100 times, but never really saw. And they changed everything. They changed my view on growth, discipline, ambition, and what it actually means to become better. Turns out, the Bible has more to say about self-improvement than any guru ever will. And it's the complete opposite of what the world teaches. So today, we're going to talk about the hidden verses that transformed my perspective on self-improvement and will possibly alter yours. If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. YouTube says more than 60% of you guys watching are not subscribed, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribe right now. Everything on this channel is about becoming a better man, physically, spiritually, and mentally. It's about discussing how we men can get closer to God and realize our fullest potential by doing the hard thing. If that resonates with you, hit the subscribe button right now, and let's get back to the video. The first verse is Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. See, we quote it, but we treat it like a poetic line, not a strategy for transformation. I used to think that self-improvement was about fixing habits. So you wake up early, you work harder, you schedule better, you read more. This verse taught me that every action is downstream from the heart. If the heart doesn't change, nothing else will. You see, it's about heart alignment. There's a scripture that is in the book of Psalms, and David talks about how your word have I hid in my heart that I may not sin against thee. When you fully understand why you are doing something, why the laws of God exist, and you can only get to that point of understanding through experiencing God or having conversations with Him, it is that understanding that allows you to be able to align to His will and to be more disciplined. Give you an example. Personally, I have a rule. I don't drink. I don't like alcohol. So, and part of this is upbringing. My father doesn't drink. My grandfather doesn't drink. So it was, I guess you could say, it was easy for me to grow up in a house like that. But then again, there are to grow up and make that choice. But again, there are people that have grown up in homes like that and have decided to, drink alcohol. Again, this is not me trying to condemn alcohol. I'm trying to make a point. And so when I got to a place of maturity and it was time for me to decide what I wanted to do with my life, whether that was, go out to parties, would I drink or not? Everyone has this conversation with themselves, whether they're conscious of it or not. You are either open to doing something or you're not. And you have reasons behind it. I like to question my motivations. And so I thought about it, and I thought of myself again. How do I see myself? I thought I'm a king. And what are the values? How do I align myself or orient myself? It's the Bible. So what does the Bible say about kings? And then I read in the book of Proverbs 31, my son Lemuel, do not give yourself to strong drink. It is not for kings to give themselves to strong drink. And I saw that. And he said, lest they forget the law. And I saw that and I thought, yeah, it's not for kings to give themselves to strong drink. Everybody else can drink. That's fine. My personal conviction is I'm a king. And because I'm a king, I don't drink. That plain and simple, and I don't drink. So it was easier, it has been easier for me to stick with this principle because I have an underlying conviction on the matter. And I said all that to say this. If you don't get to a place where your heart is fully aligned with the reason you want to develop, then your rationale for developing is never going to stick. Again, just like when I started working out because of other people. They said I couldn't bulk up, I couldn't build muscle, blah, 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 blah. But the reason I stuck with it was because I thought I want to be a man who is capable of excellence in all spheres of life. And that's the reason I do it today. So when I'm not working out, there's this thing in the back of my head that questions if I'm still excellent. If I'm still, I mean, you're reading, but you're not working out. So you're smart, but you're not buff. I mean, there's imbalance there. That's how it works for me. And that's what keeps me motivated to continue to strive. And that's how it works for everybody. The question is, are you willing to do the hard work, ask the hard questions, to align your heart with your principles, align your heart with your motivations, with your daily goals? Because until you find that underlying conviction, it's never going to stick. The second verse, Psalm 127 verse 1, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. It's short, it's quiet, it's easy to pass by, and we've done this multiple times. But it dismantles the entire self-help industry in one sentence. The worldly teaching it contradicts. You are the architect of your own destiny. Your success is 100% in your hands. Grind until your idols bless you. This verse actually says you can build, but only God can make it stand. And I have learned that this year, my God. 100% I buy into the self-help industry, or I bought into the self-help industry. I guess part of me is still on the fence as to whether I buy into it fully now or not. But start of the year, my mind and my orientation towards everything was, you have to give your very best to an activity and then God blesses it on top. This idea of God creating a path for you is a myth, and it's an ode sung by lazy people who, in a bid to absolve themselves of any responsibility, divulge all responsibility to God. So you have to give your very best. You have to give your very best to the highest. Do all of this. And I still believe that. But you must give your very best knowing that only God can actually make your work stand and can solidify your efforts. Life will test you. You're going to get to a place where you are not able to make things happen. You're not able to make things happen. Things are not going to go your way. And not because God is evil or this is some Machiavellian endeavor to ruin you, but primarily because God is trying to get you to a place where you know that He's the author and the finisher of your life, of your faith, where you know that everything rests on Him, where you experience His providence in a new light. And that requires you losing a lot of things and lacking, so He can start to build it back in ways that you could have never imagined. So, yes, it does require your effort. The horse is prepared unto the day of battle, but victory is of the Lord. The horse is prepared because we give our very best. We show up. We are ready. We are fully equipped. But at the end of the day, the victory that comes from it is because there is something about time and chance that plays into these things. Everything good that comes forth, and I've spoken about time and chance on this channel after reading Outliers, completely changed my perspective. Everything good that comes forth is, in colloquial terms, a product of luck. There's just an aspect of luck to it. Every person who's rich or wealthy will tell you, I just got lucky at some point. That's time and chance. It can't be coincidence that every single person who has made it attributes it to some form of luck. That can't be luck. That all of them rely on luck. There's something there. So, at the end of the day, you need to get to a place where mentally it reckons in your spirit, in your soul, that fully God is the author of your success. And you rest on that. And you work knowing that God is the author of your success. And that things eventually will work out. I think it's important that we have that in our hearts. The third verse, 1 Timothy 4:15, practice these things, immerse yourself in them, so that all may see your progress. You see, this verse is buried in Paul's mentorship to Timothy. It is easy to skim past and assume it's only for pastors. Now, I believe spiritual growth was passive. Pray, hope, wait. God will do the rest. And I guess part of what I said previously echoes that. But growth is a practice, immersion, consistency. God gives the strength, and this is where we mess it up. But you still have to show up. It's the perfect blend of grace and discipline. Not leaning too much into discipline, not leaning too much into grace that you absolve yourself of responsibility, staying in the middle. And so I've stopped chasing motivation. I've started building small sustainable disciplines, even on days I don't feel like it. And progress has become more visible. I'm trying to rely on the logic of God as opposed to just logic. Because logic is good, but the understanding, the wisdom of God, that is God that backs up your effort. And the practice makes it easier over time for you to achieve excellence. But it's God that still works in you, both to will and to do of his good pleasure. So everything originates from him. None of it is going to come from your stress, from your strength. And when you get to that place, you take off the pressure from yourself, the pressure to perform. Because it's not about you. You are literally just a vessel that is being used. And when you start to act like a vessel, when you start to allow yourself to be molded, to be shaped, then you start to show forth his glory, right? It is easier for you to incline yourself to practice the things he would have you do, if you are open to his spirit. So yeah, if you want to know what self-improvement really looks like for a Christian, not hustle culture, not self-worship, not striving in your own strength, then check out this video. Peace. Love and light, guys.